We will call the city-approved Common Council meeting for September 4th, 2012 to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Terry Alley, and remain standing for the invocation led by Pastor Rod Carell.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come to you and thank you for this opportunity to come together. Lord, we thank you for our city and those blessings that you've given us, Lord. We just know that recognize that they come from you. Lord, we ask that you would give wisdom to our council tonight and the leaders of our city. Be with also those in our city who are suffering. Lord, we just ask that you would guide and direct this meeting. May your spirit guide and direct it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call.
Here.
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 Okay. The next thing of the journal.
I move we suspend the rules and dispense.
Second. Has been moved by Councilman Crosskoff, second by Councilman Goff, to suspend the rules and suspending the reading and correcting of the journal. Question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Communication?
Phyllis, tell us about the Civic Center.
Okay, I'd like to report that 197 people used our Civic Center last month, and they were able to return back to the city $277.15. She said it was a little slow, but I think the weather has a lot to do with things, you know. But that's all I have to say.
Very good. Mr. Gornto, back there in the corner.
Last month on the building and zoning, we issued 1 electrical commercial permit, 2 commercial rehab permits, 7 building complaints, 6 code enforcement complaints, 8 zoning complaints. The building department had 34 consultation and meetings. The zoning department had 25 consultation meetings. Issued 4 demolition permits for residential, 4 electrical residential permits, 8 residential rehab and new permits, and 13 roofing permits. And on the new system, we got 53% of our time last month was spent in meetings and consultations.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, a couple of things. Fireworks in that we were trying to get in back in the 4th of July. If you recall, back then it was awful dry, and we was kind of concerned about could be wet on the weekend, but the weather cooperated with us. The company that performed the fireworks did an excellent job. I think everyone there enjoyed it, and so we're very thankful to get that in and have the celebration take place. Also, just to let you know, as you know, we did take a trip to China. That trip was funded by the Miami County Economic Development Authority for traveling over there. I think a lot of good progress was made. Some good relationships were made. I think there is interest. As you know, this was a company that did come to our community about a month ago to look things over in our community. They did like it. Therefore, they invited us to come over there to see their facility. Their facility was 1,500,000 square feet of manufacturing. So we don't have any definite answers at this point, but we think progress was made and that there could be some job benefit out of that in the future. So just want to give you a brief update on that. So as we hear more from them, we will certainly let you know.
Thank you very much, very good.
Do we have anything else under communications from anyone? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into unfinished business. First item is ordinance number 11, 2012.
An ordinance to pick up fees for the city of Fruit, Indiana.
I move we adopt ordinance number 11, 2012.
Second.
That's been moved by Councilman Crosskoff, seconded by Councilman Greer to adopt ordinance number 11, 2012. Questions?
Hang on, just a second. Okay, assume that a lot of you are here for the trash pickup fee, and I will ask that you come forward to the microphone, state your name and your question or concern. If you hear your question or concern voiced, we don't want a whole bunch of repeating the same thing over and over again. So that's what we like. That's how we like to handle it. Yes, sir. Come on up.
My name is Kevin Wolford. I am a property owner here in Peru. My first question is this a tax?
Is it a tax?
Is this considered a tax? And if it's under the tax, would it be considered unconstitutional by the Indiana State Constitution?
It is not a tax.
Okay,
The answer is
okay,
a fee.
Okay,
It's a fee.
okay, it's a fee.
Okay.
Okay, no, we've established that it's a
user
fee.
fee.
I am a business owner in Marion. Can I opt out of the trash pickup in Peru, take my stuff to my dumpster in Marion?
Okay, do you have a business here in town?
No, in Marion,
Okay,
2245 West Second
Okay,
Street,
but-
Marion, Indiana.
yeah, but you live here?
Yep.
No, because what
I
they're,
don't want to pay my $12. Can I stick my trash in my truck, take it to my dumpster, which I already pay for, out of my own pocket, in my business? Can we opt out?
that is based on the meters and the people who reside in that property. So if you have an electric meter there and
So
just,
it's a tax.
we
I
can't,
don't
we
use
can't
it.
add your tax, sir. That's the problem we're in right now. We have had taxes cut so
I know
low.
you can't add
So
no
it's-
tax.
it's
That's why
not
I'm saying
consi-
you can't do this because this is a tax. Or either if it's not a tax, I can opt out.
No, right now, that option has not been considered. It's gonna be, if you have a residence here and you have your meter here, that fee is gonna be charged.
Okay, so you're saying it's not a tax, but I have to pay it, like Obamacare?
No, sir, I'm not saying it's Obamacare.
No, what I'm saying is not a tax, but I have to pay it, like Obamacare.
It is, it's attached to your utility bill, so it'll be, yeah, something you do have to pay, yes, to get this service.
You have to pay
Okay,
you have to pay a
because
solid waste
the
fee.
I
problem-
want to be able to opt out then.
The problem's gonna be if somebody says, well, I work for a company and I can take it to their dumpster, and somebody says, well, I can take mine out to my parents and I'll burn it out to their,
Don't have a problem with that. Because if I don't mow my yard, you give me a $150 fine to mow my yard. If I don't pick up my trash, you give me a $150 fine to pick up my trash.
if you don't pick up your trash,
If I don't get rid of my own trash,
then
And
you're
the city
talking
has
about
to
a
do it.
zoning complaint.
right,
Hmm.
and somebody does it for me, the city,
But
and
you're
I
warned,
get a $150 fine.
you're warned first to get it cleaned up on your own. So
Okay.
we don't go in there and automatically do that first.
That's fine. I get a $150 fine if I don't keep my own trash picked up, if I opt out.
So that'd be the same thing if right now, if we didn't find ourselves in this financial situation with losing the revenue, could you come in and say, can I have my income or my property tax reduced if I take my trash to my place over in Marion? What would be the answer to that?
You're calling it a tax now.
No, I'm not calling it a
You
tax.
just, you just said, can I have my property tax?
Sir, here's the bottom line. We are trying to keep trash service
Okay,
going
I
in
understand
Peru,
that.
Indiana.
We also have
If we
police
have all
officers
these,
that are- we have police officers that are patrolling on the highway that we're paying for.
we're gonna talk about the trash fee,
Okay.
okay? Now, let me explain something to you. Right now, we don't have the money to pick up your trash. That's where we're at, correct? Because there's not, now, if we start in saying, okay, I want to opt out and all these other, the same thing we face with property taxes. If everybody paid their fair share, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. But you have your tax, but then you get your homestead credits and you get these other deductions where people that have $100,000 homes are paying zero property taxes because they opted out of all these things or got all these subsidies or credits. If we do that with this, it's not going to be $12. It'll have to be higher if everybody chooses to
Have
opt
you
out.
looked into, like, the cities of Logansport?
Yes.
That do recycling, and they're allowed so much trash, but they pick up their recycling on the side for free, glass, aluminum, paper, stuff like that.
The city of Logansport does not pick up any of that. It is all contracted. And they pay $12.93 a month.
They have a trash fee in Logansport.
Okay, so you're telling me that a person, one, that's, say, an individual that's
let's say a bachelor that lives by themselves and produces 1 bag of trash a week is gonna have to pay $12 a month to get rid of 4 bags of trash.
It's just like somebody who has no children and still has to pay property taxes
That's a
that go
tax then,
to the
correct?
school. Well, you're talking about property
You're telling me it's
taxes.
a tax because I can't opt out.
No, I'm not
That's just
telling
what
you
I'm
that.
saying. And that's
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are you going to charge businesses this same amount? I mean,
Here's the way businesses will work. I can answer that question for you. If you have a dumpster as a business, no. Because we do not have the,
That's all I wanna know.
no, we do not have the ability to pick up the dumpsters, trash.
if
So
you
if we
was
had to
gonna-
buy more equipment to be able to do that,
I
but
don't-
we're not gonna charge that business the $12 because we do not have the ability to pick up their trash. So they will not have to pay the fee just because we do not.
okay now. What, my business is not in a business name, it's just my personal name. What do I have to do? Do I need to go down and change that into a business name?
Is the dumpster
light
setting out
bill.
of business?
It's not in a business, just the light bill is in my personal name.
But I mean, let me understand, you have a business, correct? And you have a dumpster at that business. When we go through there, and we know they're dumpsters, and that's what we've been doing for the last, I don't know how many months. The ones that have dumpsters and we cannot pick up, they are going to be scratched off and it won't be added to your electric bill. So we're
I don't-
taking care of that.
I don't mind paying the $12, it's gonna be cheaper.
But no, mhm.
That's all I wanna know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Alfred?
Getting a bill for that?
Clayton Alfred, and I have a question. We have a street sweeper that goes down every week, whether there's a curb or not, and sweeps the street because they've got to put a report into the federal government. Well, if the federal government wants this done, they should pay for it. If not, we should not be wasting that money on that street sweeper. Apply this toward the trash or put toward your fees. It probably costs $25 an hour to run that street sweeper, and that's $1,000 a week times 52. This should be going toward your this fees rather than this $12 that you want us to put us on for because we don't have enough tax money. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Jackie. Yes.
I think everybody knows who I am. I'm Wayne Bunker, and we own about 12 properties in Peru. And the way I'm going to start out here is I'm going to do a little history about it. I called it the property tax of the past 30 years, but it's not all property tax. We've had the CEDAT, the County Economic Development Income Tax, which we passed back in the late 70s, early 80s. I wrote a letter against that back then and was sort of boo-hooed about we was going to develop the county. If you pull up the economic data from Miami County the last 10 years, we've done nothing but backwards. Okay. We have the county option income tax. That was supposed to help. We have the local option income tax. That was supposed to help out when we come up with this 1%, 2%, and 3% system. It wasn't quite set up right, and they did change the distribution last year so that the city should get a better distribution this year. We have a public safety LOIT tax. We have a fire territory tax now that used to be part of the general fund. We have a fire protection. That came about when they needed $100,000 cut out of the budget. The city leases the hydrants off the city utilities, and now that's $4 on our utility bill. We have a wastewater, that's on our utility bill. and we also have the annual recycling. If we go to the next page here, I pulled a bunch of data together from the state audit reports, the DLGF, the county auditor's office, county treasurer's office. And if we look at the budgets, Mr. Walker tells us it's going back next year, but when I called down to the Department of Local Government Finance and talked to Marcy Boosie down there this last week, she informed me that our general levy is going to go up almost $800,000 next year, not backwards. It's going to go from $2,485,000 to $2,239,000. If you look at the history of our levies over the last, since 2005, and if we combine our levies of what used to be the fire back into the general fund like it should be, our levies have went up about 70% since 2005. I don't know about you guys, but my pays went up 0 since 2005. So we've basically having a 70%, 13% one year, 13% another year, 5% another year, 3.5% another year, went back 4.5%, 6.76. The levy next year is scheduled. At this point, estimated would be 16.5% increase in the levy. And for those in the audience that don't know what the levy is, that's what raises the taxes. Also, I found another tidbit on the way here is that Peru, out of over 550 communities, ranks number 32 in the state of spending the most per citizen. Mr. Walker talks about the tax caps, and I think in the paper it was quoted that we had a $1.1 million loss of tax caps last year. We had a $990,000 loss in 2012, the current budget year. According to the state, we had a $975,000 in 2011, and we had a little over $1 million in 2010. So the tax caps are somewhat stable at this point. And actually, we should lose less next year in the tax caps just because of the fact that the Lowit redistribution has come about. If we go to the next page, I sort of graphically put the general levy in a chart, and then I did the combined one after that, combined fire and levy. And if we look here, our levies have been going up continually. And while it's true that we don't collect all the levy, we all know that that has ever worked in government, we do collect a pretty large percentage of the levies. So if we look at this graphically, our levies have increased somewhere around 70%. If we look at the cash flows on the next page, over the last, since 2005, our cash flows have been pretty good. The general fund balance beginning this year was $723,650 in the general fund. We've come from $186,000. We had a high of $1.1 million, or actually $2.099 million. So from that viewpoint, I don't see where the cash flow's really, really bad at this point. And I have a little graph there about the general fund balances. If we look at the combined balances, because we have a rainy day fund now too, that we put back this money in case we have problems. And the rainy day fund has went from $817,000 in 2006 to $606,000 today. The general fund, of course, is down to $723,000, but we also have a fire territory fund now. We also have a public safety Lowit fund. So if you add all the funds together, the city had about $2.5 million worth of assets at the beginning of the year. If we look at the next page where we have the certified budget versus total revenues, where we're just dealing with just the general fund, it shows what has happened there. The revenues, of course, have went back, but it's been shifted to other areas. And again, it shows the tax caps. My next piece here deals with the sanitation department solely. I guess the question is, and it's never really been addressed, will $800,000 be cut out of the 2013 budget that's in there now for sanitation? Or is that going to stay in there when you advertise the budget for 2013?
I'm sorry?
Is the 2013 budget going to be cut $800,000 that's in the 2012, or is that staying in?
On the advertisement, it's in there right now.
Okay, and you want
Now,
another $800,000 on top of it?
But it's going to be cut if this gets passed, and we're not going to have the funds in, because we are, if you want to check with some other people who are the budget consultants, they will show you how the 788 is the actual number.
Well, DLGF I talked to said that wasn't true. So, anyway.
Well, they told us that, Wayne, a couple of years ago, that they weren't shorting us in income tax either, and then they found a $500 million mistake.
And
That's the same group that told you that.
Yeah, I
So
know.
just know who you're talking to.
I understand. But last year, when I was over there arguing with the county part, the numbers that they gave me was the accurate numbers, and they were the numbers that came out at the end, even though there was other misinformation being passed around. So if we look at this proposal here, that we take $800,000, and you say that's $144 a year, that means you have about 5,500 meters that you're going to tack it to.
Mm-hmm.
5,500 meters. And if we add in our $800,000 current budget, because in fact you are advertising that way right now.
You do, and you put a budget together,
I-
it's in your budget.
I understand.
But you understand too that it gets cut.
I understand.
Okay.
I was a school businessman for 5.5 years, so I know how this works. Okay, so we're looking right now at potentially $1.6 million coming into the city, which works out to be about $288 a year for trash pickup, for sanitation. And I know when we went to the spring meeting out at the high school, you said that it would cost us $20 or $30 for trash pickup. I actually have a bill in here from Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill pays $6.70 for trash pickup out there. So if I take $6.70 at the $800,000 current budget, it appears that we're overpaying $350,000 right now. And if we take the full $1.6 million, it appears that we're paying $1.1 million more right now. And Waste Management's a private company, and I'm not advocating doing away with our sanitation workers. I think they do a fabulous job. But Waste Management pays union wages. They have property taxes they pay. They pay excise taxes. They pay income taxes on their income. None of those costs are incurred by the city at all. So why can't the local entity compete with a private enterprise? What else do I have here now? Which way am I going here? And I think I have one more thing here. Oh, property tax collections so far this year have been about 44.67%, which is about on track. Our property tax collections overall have been running until the property tax caps kicked in. They've been running about 95, 96%, and they dropped down to about 84%. So if we project that out next year, and if the proposed levy holds that Miranda told me, you're looking at about an extra $600,000 increase in taxes because of the levy increase. They redistribute the LOIT, so that therefore the caps are being captured now from the 2 and 3% people, and also the COLA has been refigured. So I just don't feel I can trust the city at this point on additional funds, because the only thing I've seen is that it's went up. I also, on the way of finding all this information, going through the annual audit reports, in 2006, I ran across an audit report where the city was written up for misusing funds from a bond project of about $184,000. The response was back that they would pay it when the next tax draw came, because they were short of money. That was the year that the city had $2.1 million in the general fund at the end of the year. And as of the audit report for 2011, December 31st, that money has never been paid back. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
You don't want to hear a rebuttal on any of it?
You can say anything you want to, Mr. Mayor.
Well, you know, involved with this before, you know, on this basically rainy day funds. Rainy day funds are when things fall apart and you have to have some money to back yourself up on. If you recall, some of the things you didn't mention, there were 2 or 3 years in a row we had to borrow money from Peru Utilities because we did not get our tax draws on time. You better have some money to pay that, because $1 million doesn't go very far in operating the city. So you better have some money back. Do you run your household with a zero balance in your checking or in savings account? I'm asking, do you think that would be prudent of a municipality that you depend on to provide you services to operate with no balances?
Well, basically, the whole time I was involved with the schools for 12 years, they were essentially running no balances because they were borrowing from the bond bank every year.
Yeah, well, we're fortunate we haven't had to do that.
Huh?
We haven't had to do that. But we're going to keep some money there in case.
You have another entity you can borrow from the utilities, which is city-owned.
Mhm. But we have to pay it back. Granted, it's zero interest.
$21 million
Yeah.
available in cash December 31st.
Yeah. Now, the other things that you talk about in there and all your numbers here, and you're talking about all these collections of taxes. Did you read the paper back in August 7th when all the tax sales were listed? You know what the total amount of that, all that property is? How much?
City's portion's about 450,000.
480,000 that we're not gonna get.
Well, no, you get part of that back because I'm
When?
an investor.
Not this year.
No, not this year, but that's.
How do you keep operating this year?
Because that is historically, you always have tax sales.
Not that big,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
no.
That's
No.
historical.
You know, and then you talk about all the levy increases and all that. It boils down to what is collected. And with that 1% cap, which nobody pays 1%. In a residential property, 0.4% is the average. 40% of the property owners, residential property owners, pay $100 a year or less. 10% pay zero.
I agree with that.
That's money you don't have to operate on. That's what we're talking about.
That comes from the caps. That comes from the caps. Zero. But
No.
the bottom line is.
No, the cap doesn't count for all that. It's the credits that you receive that counts for the zero. The homestead credits and all the other miscellaneous stuff that,
Through the auditor's office, since the caps have come in, you have collected 85% of your levies. 85% of your levies you collected. It used to be 95%. So it has went backwards because of the caps. So therefore, if the levy goes up 800,000 next year, that's proposed levy increase next year, according to the state. In theory, you should collect 85% of that historically. 85% of 800,000 in my book's about $650,000. You should additionally get next year.
well, we should have gotten all that income tax too, that we didn't. And when they found out that $500 million mistake, instead of returning it to the people who got shorted, that would have helped with the situation we're in, they're giving it back as a tax credit to the residents. We're not getting that money back, even though it was collected to help the municipalities, cities and towns and local or county governments, schools. We're not getting it.
The bottom line is, the funds have not shown that great of a depreciation over a period of 6 years.
Bottom line is that money's not coming in. And I'll tell you, I've been down there talking to DLGF, State Board of Accounts, state legislators, state senators. They all know that this is a problem. And they knew what it was going to happen. This is not something that we have created here locally. Are we going to have some funds in there? Yes, because I'm not going to run this city on a zero balance or anything, that if we have a serious situation happen, that we can't operate. And we're not going to go bankrupt like other communities are. I'm not going to put the city in that position. So I am going to have a balance in there, and that is for safety.
The reality is, in your administration, you have went from a low of $186,000 balance to roughly this now. And the reality is that the levy, yeah, it's right there in the numbers. I can look at it.
Oh, I can too, Wayne. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can show you every report we have as well, so. I think somebody else had their hand up back there.
Yep.
This is Scott Shepard, again, resident. I do own rental properties in town, and I just found it very interesting on the documents that Wayne passed out, a $6.70 sanitation fee that Bunker Hill pays. Also, with the information I brought forward, I don't know if there was any discussion afterwards regarding this guy that's opened up this biofuel company in Grant County who's offered to take our trash for half price. I still think that if we do accept this, one, we ought to look at the competition that's only charging $6.70 as compared to $12 a month. Jim, you asked me last time, maybe we ought to privatize it. This tells me, yes, we should privatize it.
You never heard me say we ought to privatize
Now,
it.
you asked me if that would be my
Oh, I might ask you if you wanted to,
And
yeah.
so I'm saying if that's what we have to do to drive that fee down $5.30, we certainly should look at that. I mean, $12 versus $6.70 sure makes a difference for what people can do. I mean, it gives them an extra meal a month or week. I mean, why are we not looking at Bunker Hill? Maybe they'll even pick it up for $6 if we throw our trash in with Bunker Hill.
Their costs are different than ours. I can show you communities charging $15 a month too.
I don't need, well, Bunker Hill's in Miami County. I don't need to look at someone else's. I'd like to know why we can't look at Bunker Hill's pickup.
'Cause
Or why don't
our
we look
cost
at
is
a
different.
biannual, say pick it up or buy monthly, pick it up first of the month and the 15th, half cost. I think we need to look at some additional ways of doing this. Well, still, are they picking it up once a week in Bunker Hill?
I don't know, I live in Peru, but they pick it up once a week in Peru.
Well, $6.70 sure sounds a lot better to me than 12 bucks. And my other question is if you do take this on and we do find that this biofuel company that's not going to be in Miami County, but going to be in Grant County, one county away, if they're willing to take our trash for half price, then maybe we may need to revisit this soon into the year when they start accepting that trash. But I beg you guys to look at this. If Bunker Hill's doing it for this price, I don't know why they couldn't do it for our city.
The
It's
bottom
$6.
line is, if you want to look how we came dollars, it's no magic to it. Here's how many meters we're talking. This is our overall cost if I'm looking at repair of trucks and everything else. I don't know if they have the same type of trucks we have. Maybe they're doing it with smaller
It
vehicles.
doesn't matter, Jim, if they can do it for $6.70 a month
Scott,
compared to 12 bucks.
I didn't interrupt you. Let me finish. And if our cost is what it costs to operate that, and then all the trucks that we have and the street sweepers that were mentioned, all the things we have to make sure the streets are taken care of, that's what it costs. So you multiply the meters times a number to get to that final cost, and that
Right.
number is $12.
That's
how we came up with
That's
it.
our cost for operation, $800,000 to keep our trash trucks running. And it sounds to me, if we have to sell trash trucks to offset and let solid waste or sanitation, waste management come and pick it up, why would we not want to do that?
Okay, if you wanted to go privatize, what you're talking about there.
Sure.
Okay, if you're talking about that, how many containers do you want? You want your debris that you take
I
from your
want
yard?
$6.70 worth.
Okay, so
Maybe
you
I
don't want
want
all the
$15.
services. You don't want all the services we provide. If we pick up your leaves, if we pick up your tree trimmings, if we pick up the lumber that you've
Have you
had a
checked to
project
see if waste management does that too?
for a cost.
They
Still,
don't.
Not
I
for
just-
$6.70, they're not.
It just begs the question, have we checked around or are we
Yes.
just balancing our budget?
No, we have checked around, we've asked other people. Other people do not pick up everything that we pick up. And let me just ask this, the people sitting here today, do you want your trash picked up the way it is today, or would you rather have to pay an additional fee? You get a couple containers and we're not picking up the others. How many want your trash picked up today the way it is?
How many wants to pay $12 versus $6.70?
If they're gonna pick up everything that I got, I'll pay it.
They won't pick up tires and stuff like that still.
Well, it just seems to me, especially since we had this gentleman sit down with the biofuel company that he's putting into Marion, he's already purchased a building, he'll be closing on it in October, and that's the Thompson building, which is the RCA building. He's willing to do biofuels and accept our trash at half price. I would think that this fee should be revisited if they in fact can take our trash for half
You
price.
still have to get the trash picked up and taken to Marion.
We're running some
That's-
awful expensive trash trucks then.
No, the trash disposal fee in Wabash is about $1,000. So if you cut that in half, you save $80,000 out of the $800,000. You're not
Isn't that something?
Well, if it comes into-
And it could be revisited next year.
Yeah.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
You want to come to the microphone, Mary?
Oh, we got two coming right here.
Oh.
Hi, Scott Carell, resident Miami County, employee of the street department. For those of you who are not familiar with what the city does for you, for the simple amount that they're proposing, you got to open your eyes. Because the $6 that's been proposed will pick up literally 2 bags of trash. We pick up on a basis from everybody's house. I have spent literally, I was on garbage just today for makeup day. We spent 15 minutes at one house. That's one house. Picking up their garbage that they decided to clean out their whole garage. I'm telling you, private pickup will go on the curb. I run street sweeper. I do about anything there is down at the street department. A street sweeper will go around every single trash container that's out in that curb, and that will not get clean. And over time, you're going to pile trash right in the gutter of the street. Right now, it's hidden in the alleys where you can't see it, and we do go and clean that up as well. So I think for $12 and whatever it is a month, you're getting a steal. I think you can sit here and pick it apart all day, or you can just come to the plain reality that we're not getting tax money back. That's all there is to it. Let's find a way to fix it. So For those who aren't convinced and don't agree with my opinion, I apologize, but if you want to come work on the back of a garbage truck with me for a week, I'll take you. And you can come see how much garbage you're getting picked up. What's that?
I have.
You have? Well, that was
Me too.
that was then when you had 3 guys a truck. Now we're down to 2. So I've also torn a disc up. We've got other guys that got back injuries because it is so heavy, but we're still doing the same amount of work, if not more, because people are not considerate enough to keep all their stuff in containers, bag it up, whatever. We clean all that stuff up. I'm telling you, if you go private the way you're wanting to, this city is going to look like a trash dump. I'm just telling you, that's just how it is. There's so much stuff we pick up that for $12 to steal. So you've heard my
What do you do
piece.
about the people on fixed incomes that can't afford the extra $12 a month and it's going to take away something?
It's $12 a month.
That's my point.
That's my point. But they live on $700.
But they live on $700 a month.
Okay, but
$12 goes a long
there again, let me explain it. This, the $788,000 that has to be cut is $788,000 you're not paying taxes on anymore. So the savings, you have a savings there in your taxes because you're not paying as much money in taxes to support the budget.
The tax cut, and then you're going to add it on the other side.
If you want to have trash picked up, we don't have the money to do it. You're going to have to pay the fee, and that covers the loss of revenue to this.
I've heard other people,
Taxes are going down $144 a year.
Pardon me?
So everyone's taxes are going down $144 a year.
No, because there are some people that pay 0. There are some people pay less than 100, so you can't say that across the board.
But you did just say that you're taking $800,000 out of the budget next year now.
Yeah.
When I asked you that, you said.
No,
No,
I said
that's
it's
not what-
advertised
that's not
in
what
there,
you
Wayne,
asked.
and you said you understood that.
And if the levy comes back high enough, they will not $1,000 out. It will still be in the budget. It will only be cut out, once you put it in there, if you can't fund it.
No, we've already been told you have to cut this to meet, because the state's not going to approve the budget until it's gone, Wayne. You know that. You've done budgets before. They say that's going to be down to this number, or state's not going to approve it. When we pass a budget here, not only the council passes it, then we have to have a perusal by the county now, by the new state guidelines, and then it goes to the state of Indiana to approve it. And they're saying that much is going to be out of it, or they're not going to approve it. So to say it's not is a misstatement.
Just to finish, just real quick, and I'll be out of your way. I've got another meeting to go to. We have guys in the back here that work for the street department. And if you think the economy is bad enough in Peru already, you go start cutting jobs out from guys that they buy their groceries in town. They buy everything in town. That's guys that have families. And if you want to talk about a fixed income, you're going to shut those guys down to 0 income. Because,
Right.
and I'm telling you, and it's not a fault, I'm not picking on anybody. Jobs in Peru are hard to find and to support a family. I got 3 kids. So I'm pretty much on a fixed income if you want to look at it that way. So, well, that's what I'm looking at is, you know, I pay bills like everybody else, and if I had to pay $12 to get the amount of garbage picked up that we do, that's my whole point. For the amount of stuff we pick up, $12. So, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Yes, you're next.
Mary Jo Raber. What Scott said. I praise the street department, the trash pickup guys for picking up our trash. Not only they pick up our trash, they pick up anything we have out there. And I've said that before. I'm on fixed income too, and I don't make a lot of money. But for $12 a month, I could not go out. Maybe I don't have to go out and eat so much. I do go out to eat. I can stay home and cook. Everybody else can stay home and cook more. For $12, sometimes I can eat out for 3 meals on $12. Because I use coupons to go to Wendy's and Arby's and our Hardee's and stuff. But stay home and cook. It's that simple. But I do have a question. On the $30 a year we pay on waste management, where does that money go?
That goes to the county, and that's for the recycling program. We do not get any of that money in the city of Peru at all.
What does the county do with it?
That's the recycling programs that they do.
Tires, paint, stuff like that.
Does it take $30 to do that?
I don't know the answer
Every
to that.
cent.
It does?
Yeah. The last bill I saw at Leffler Tire was around $24,000. They do it 4 times a year. So yes, it takes every bit of that.
Okay.
And they don't have any control of that here.
Okay, well, I'm willing to pay $12 a month to have my trash picked up every week.
Thank you.
I don't like more bills to have to pay out because our income doesn't go up that much, but that is something worthy to be paid. Like I said, we can just stay home and cook or not go to a movie or something.
Okay. Well,
Something we have to sacrifice, it's worth sacrificing for.
let me explain something to everyone sitting here, and I'm being 100% honest with you here. I don't like to see people pay more for anything, but I also think if we do not do what we're proposing, it's going to cost you more. If we go out of the trash pickup business, you're not going to go anywhere. I don't care if you think you can get it for $6.70, you're not. We've checked with some of these other companies. If this is voted down, and it's not a scare tactic, I'm just being honest, and we do not have the funds to do it, then as of tonight, depending on the way it votes, you may have to say, yes, you're going to continue to get your trash picked up, or we're going to have to start looking for somebody else to pick your trash up. And I doubt that you're going to get it for 12. So you're going to pay more rather than less because we're going to be the cheapest game in town. So we're looking to save you funds on this.
And about the street, cleaning the street cleaner, I heard what Al said, but I also heard what Scott said, and I agree that we need that done too. Because I know a lady that used to live next door to me, and she said her trash in her gutter ran down in front of her house. She was always out there sweeping it. Well, if they never sweep the street, then what's our gutters gonna look like? All the neighbors, everyone's gonna be out there sweeping.
There are a lot of reasons to sweep, especially when you had the rains like it happened in the last few days. If you don't sweep and all the debris along the gutters rain, then you're going to have
Exactly.
flooding in the
And people
streets.
don't clean out the
There's a lot of
gutters.
things that we,
People that live in town, if they live by a corner, they should clean out those gutters all the time.
doesn't always
And
happen though,
then-
so, yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
I could go on.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
John?
John Alfrey. Folks, I sat up here 8 years ago, or for 8 years. What they're talking about is not all that bad. Plymouth, Indiana, back in the 80s, paid $5 a month. That was cheap. But Jim, what I want from you, since I couldn't get a union in down there years ago to help my boys,
Do what now?
since I couldn't get a union in down there to help the boys, I don't want you laying them off after the first of the year. Now, just listen to me. That's a rumor going around.
No.
Okay, now let me finish.
No,
Okay,
don't.
all right. Now, then I also heard about what this gentleman was talking about the RCA deal in Marion. Can we possibly sell our trash to this man?
We don't know about that, man. We've talked to other people about that. We've been looking at this kind of stuff for 2 years. Can we sell it? Can we try to get methane out of it? We haven't found anybody that's really interested. At one time, we was looking at a diesel fuel or a refinery type thing.
Well, Blair was looking at that too one
Yep.
time.
And they never came through. And I think the one that he was talking about, if Scott's still here, was the one that Leffler's was looking at. The building wasn't big enough for them to do it here with the
No.
trash that they needed to do. We've not heard anything back from them since
Okay,
they went
but
to
now-
someplace else. But can you always look for that kind of stuff in the future? Sure.
Sure.
But that's Kurt did a very good job of. If that's the case, you're going to cut our landfill costs down.
That's right.
Okay. So, but you're not going to save enough to say, okay, we've got to have some funds, because what that cost is about 185,000 just in landfill. If you add on the fuel surcharges and all that stuff that they add into now, and that can go up and up and up. But if you take it to Marion and you got to truck it over there,
No. He comes and gets it if he wants it.
Where's he gonna pick it up at?
Let him put a station down there like some of the other towns do. You dump it in a pit, he comes and cleans it out. Every day it's cleaned and washed down.
If anybody wants to talk to us about it, we're open
Okay.
to discussion, but it's not gonna take away the need, we still have to pick it up.
You still have to pick it
So-
up, but you don't have to pay 2 men to drive to Wabash to
We
dump it.
don't.
And then you don't have to pay that landfill
You guys
fee.
go over there, Jake. One. Yeah, I thought it was just one, yeah.
All right.
They load it up and they bring it over there, one guy takes it over, they're out.
Okay.
That's not
Nobody's gonna
too-
get laid off.
No, we don't need to,
Okay.
have you guys heard me talk about that? Anybody in this room or sitting on the council heard?
Yes?
There was nothing. in-
Anybody
we
sitting
just-
here hear me talk about it?
Hang on, hang on.
I'm telling you, John, there's not been any discussion about
No, I
that.
just want everybody to know that you said no, there was gonna be no layoffs after the first year.
Hang-
If and when we can sell or get rid of this trash to save some money, can we lower this $12 a month fee?
That's something to come back and be a discussion, yes.
Because it seems like every time we get a tax added on, or a fee, you wanna call it a fee, it never goes away. It just keeps going up and up.
Yep.
So does cost, John. Yeah.
Hang on, we just looked at the budget. That's what we did last month. That was budget month. In the budget for next year are the corresponding number of sanitation employees as we've had this year. With the exception, I think we reduced it to 1 or 2 over the last few
We did-
years.
we
for-
did
for
seasonal
attrition.
help.
But nobody there's not anything in there that says we're not hiring this same number of men. It was in the budget.
I forgot something.
This young lady
Yep.
had her hand in the
Lady
air
first, yep.
first, so.
My name's Gloria Yours. I'm a county resident for almost ever, but moved up to Peru about 10 years ago. I've been amazed at how clean this town is. I could not believe what they pick up. I can't believe how clean they keep the streets, and I tell people about it all the time. I'm ready to pay $12. I was not at first. I talked to several people over the past few months, and they have told me exactly why we have to do it. I'm on board with it. I think $12 is very cheap. I don't want to cut jobs. I want our alleys clean, and just think about those who are not going to pick up their trash. They're not, if we have to go to a private company, they're not going to do it. And just think what our alleys are going to look like. That's what bothers me. There are people that are not going to do it. I live in a good neighborhood, but we still have some rentals. I know those people are not going to pay it. So I want clean alleys, and if we have to pay for it, I'll pay for it.
Thank you.
Coming to follow up on that, earlier tonight, the mayor had mentioned that he just got back from China. The Chinese were here about a month ago, and a comment they made to the mayor, and this was a month ago, so we weren't talking about this, was that they were impressed with how clean the city was. Yes.
We're in trouble now.
I know it.
I'm Pat. Well, I think it's great what our community does for each other and what we have in this town. And I'm for having a fee if we need to have it. Because if we don't, our alleys, or our homes, our properties are going to be in bad shape because we think the mosquitoes are bad with the viruses now. Just think what we're going to have if we have trash pile-ups. We're going to have rats. We're going to get raccoons. We're going to get all kinds of animals coming into our places. You're not going to have children out playing when you've got this kind of things all over town. Why are we talking about going out to Marion, to Kokomo, to Logansport, looking for somebody to come in and get our trash when we want our community to have our own people working and getting a paycheck? I think it's wrong. I think we need to support our own community, and we need to support our own people to have a wage in this town, or in this county, because we need it. We need stability here. And this is what it's all about. It's helping each other and keeping each other in wages, keeping our children safe, and keeping it clean, and for health reasons mainly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else new? New. Back to the repeats after we get everybody else. New.
Hi there. My name's Kristen Moon, and I want to say thank you to my who shares an alley with me and doesn't complain about my kids who don't tie their bags tight. Thanks. I don't object to $12 a month. If I moved to a new town and I heard that the trash fee was $12 a month, I would think it was a bargain. I want to say thank you for not charging by the resident, because that would get really expensive in my house really fast. We have a family of 11, and we make a lot of trash. So I don't object to the $12. I do object to some of the conversation that's happened about the $12. It bothers me when we demonize residents for taking perfectly legal exemptions, like the homestead exemption, and saying they're not paying their fair share. I would bet that most of the people up here who are eligible for a homestead exemption do take one. And so I wish we were having more of a World War II conversation. Let's all band together. The money's tight. Here's how we do it. But I feel like in some ways, we've kind of picked on some people that didn't deserve it.
Okay, let me answer. I'm not demonizing anybody.
Okay.
I have been asked, how did we get this way? And when people say you have this much money that should be coming in, the reason I mentioned that is because you have to explain to people why we're in the position that we are in. So there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just stating this is why we're here. When $100,000 homes have enough credit to pay zero property taxes, that is a problem as far as being able to pay for the services that we provide. Not demonizing, not making fun of them. I'm just stating the fact. This is why we're at the position we're in. So.
But if they're taking a legal exemption, it's not unfair. I mean, to say that people aren't paying their fair share, I object to that kind of language. That's what I object to. And,
we do have
and to me-
people that own multiple properties that pay zero on
But they don't
up to
take a
5.
homestead exemption on every one of them.
They take enough exemptions, and the homestead plays into that. When they take enough exemptions on one house they live in, and then
I think all she's trying to say is, they're playing by the rules, and there's nothing wrong with that, and there isn't.
Sure. I mean, if the problem is that the rules are crippling the city, let's go to the state and let's deal with the rules. I happen to think that our trash guys are awesome. I have stood at the back door in a bathrobe and flip-flops and gone, wait a minute, and they have stood in the rain while I grabbed one more bag of trash and ran it out. I think our guys are great. And I think they're worth the $12 a month, but we have to acknowledge that this increases my cost to live in the city of Peru. My taxes aren't going down $144 a year, and I'll just tell you what I pay in city and county taxes for the privilege of living where I live is about $300 a year. So $144 is almost a 50% increase. And so my heart goes out to those people on a fixed income who get Social Security disability, who really are going to struggle with this fee. So my hope would be that we would be just a little more respectful of the residents.
And again, I disrespect to anybody. It's just I'm stating the facts of how we got to the position we're in. So. Mr. Guston.
I just wanted to say something. Most of you out here probably know somebody like this. My cousin lives in the country and has his trash picked up, and it sure isn't $6. He has one container, and he can have 5 of those kitchen bags along with that one container, and it's $28.50 a month. I can't afford that. I can't afford that, and I know you probably can't either. $12 I can scrape together, and I'm on a fixed income too, so I know.
Well, and again, when we first started looking at this, is because I want to keep our trash pickup the way it is. These guys know that, and I've never looked at privatization as an option because just as was mentioned, I think Pat mentioned it, that, we do away with trash pickup, not only you're losing jobs, you're losing buying power within the community, and we certainly don't want to do that. But again, to share why we've mentioned some of the things, and we're not being critical of individuals, and when they take the credits, are they legal? Sure, they're legal. If they weren't legal, they wouldn't be able to do them. But it's just a sign of the times. When you have that many people paying that few tax dollars, it's hard to make it up. If you look back before all of these sweeping changes the state of Indiana imposed on us, the tax caps and the adding new credits and all that, what did you pay in taxes then? It was more than what you're paying today. So your taxes have gone down dramatically, and that's great for you as a homeowner. All we're saying is if you want to continue to get all of the services that we provide, we cannot do it on the income that we are allowed to get on an ongoing basis. So if these deductions and everything continue to dwindle, the value of, or not the value, but the revenue that we receive, we have to look at options if we want to continue those services. Outside of taxes, can you say a fee is a tax? You can say anything we charge, anybody consider it a tax in their way of thinking. It is not a tax. We cannot add a new property tax onto you because of the tax caps. It is a fee that is charged for trash pickup. The fee is set because this is what it's going to take to generate the revenue we need. Can it be adjusted up or down in the future? That's always an option. Because if there's other ways to get rid of the trash, you can adjust it. We cannot add this to your tax bill. You are going to pay individually as you pay property taxes. $788,000 of cost is going away that you no longer have to pay taxes for us to gain that much money. Will your taxes go down? The reason I can't say 100% it's going to go down because I have no control over assessed values. If your assessed value goes up dramatically on your home, are you going to pay more taxes? Sure. Did I change the assessed value? No, I did not. I can't give you a 100% guarantee that it couldn't change. But today, with the numbers we have and knowing the revenue streams, even with the income tax, it's not covering the cost that we lost. So we are trying to do something that not only keeps our guys working, because I think they do a fabulous job and I want to see them stay down there. I think they do a great job for you, a great service for you. It's $12. You're not going to get it any cheaper than that. We're not trying to put a burden on anybody. We're trying to keep these guys working, keep your trash picked up, keep the city looking clean, more attractive to new investment, and we have to come up with new ways to do it. That's all we're trying to do, no burdens. Your taxes should go down a little. I can't say what the assessed value is going to do again, but if we don't do this, we're going to have to look at some very, very difficult choices, and that's a decision I don't want to ever have to do, is to say we can't go down, or we can't pick up trash because the folks of our community said it's not worth $12 to get their trash picked up. They'd rather spend $28.50, as Mr. Guston said, to do it. This is something that we have thought about for years. You know, we had to cut money last year, $935,000 out of the budget. Tax sales were still going up. Cost was going up. You know, our cost of fuel goes up. All of our costs goes up, but our revenue kept going down. Not because we did anything wrong. It's just the rules we have to play in. And I don't think this is going to be a huge burden because the trash is going to be picked up somehow, and you're not going to get it any cheaper than $12. If you do, well, good luck. But I think in order to do that, you're going to have to go a citywide pickup and not everybody going out and get their own individuals. That would not work. So I guess I'm just saying that I hope you understand that we have looked at many, many, many options. This seems to be the best option for everybody involved, and to keep your cost as low as we possibly can, but keep the service there. So I just want everybody to understand we're not trying to put a burden on anybody. We're not belittling anybody by the things that we're saying. It's just the facts that we're living in. And if you want to ask why, then you need to talk to your state folks and ask why they passed it. We fought against tax caps. We knew this wasn't going to work because what's a tax cap? They can adjust your assessed value up and down all they want. Shouldn't have happened. All the other stuff that's been passed, the mandates. You know, next year we have to spend what is about $100,000 on new radio equipment and things of that nature between police, fire, and street department. A mandate, got to go to a new frequency, $100,000. How do we pay that?
Street signs.
Hmm?
Street signs.
Yeah, these are things that we have to face. These are going to change, and these are mandates. So revenue goes down, mandates go up. And, you know, if you ask about the money in the bank, as we talked about earlier, you bet. I'm never going to put this city in a position where it's going to be close to bankruptcy. I think that's the worst thing we can do. We're always going to have money to get us out of an emergency. If a building gets damaged and we need to fix it, we're going to be able to fix it. If we have a major leak somewhere that we need to get involved in and help fix it, so you have service, we're going to fix it. Yeah, we're going to keep some money in the bank. And I don't apologize to that one bit. We better have money in the bank. That's just frugal management. You don't ever operate at no money or zero. So, you know, that's kind of a long-winded speech, but I just want everybody to know we're not trying to be mean. We're not trying to put burdens on anybody. We're trying to keep you in service at the best price that's going to benefit you, not hurt you. So, go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
There's a new one. We're going to take about 10 more minutes, unless somebody has something totally unique that hasn't been said yet. So.
David Jones, resident of Peru. Council and Mayor, I'd like to know, the people that are paying little or no tax, are they going to have to pay this $12 fee too?
Yes.
Above zero?
Yes.
Now, the residents, say you've got a duplex, triplex, quadplex home. You were saying about the meters. Every meter will get the bill?
Every meter, yes.
Okay, so it doesn't always really have to rely on, say, a landlord to pay that bill.
Depends on how many meters. If you have a duplex and there are 2 meters, each meter gets charged, yeah.
Okay, and if the meters are in the people's individual name, then it's theirs. That's all
Yep,
I need.
that's it.
Thank you.
Yep.
So Jim, what if there's just one meter and there's 3 apartments in that house?
It's going to be just, we can only build the meter. That's all we can go, because it's going to be on your electric bill.
Okay, so in other words, 2 apartments ain't gonna pay nothing, right?
Well, the owner of the property is going to pay something.
Triplex with 1 meter, yeah.
The owner's going to pay a fee, but if they just add the 1 meter, we can't charge him 3 because it's based off the meter. That's the only way we can figure out how to charge it, so. Because you don't.
That, and if they have a situation like that, they're not to code to begin with, as far as building codes.
Better start looking around, mister.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying that every building is to code. I'm saying they're already in that situation to begin with.
Ma'am?
I just have a simple comment.
Okay.
You say $12 a month. No offense to anybody in here that smokes. That's approximately 3 packs of cigarettes a week or 3 gallons of gas.
Yes.
Now, come on,
Yeah.
let's look at it that way.
Yes.
Okay. Hang on. Anybody else new? Yes.
Just have a small comment.
Comment away.
I don't live here in the city, I live out in the county, and I can guarantee you what I pay a month to have my garbage picked up is not close to $12 a month.
I assume it's more?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also have 2 son-in-laws who work on the sanitation department, and I've heard a lot of citizens come up to me and they've told me how good of a job they do, and they do pick up anything and everything, and I hear all the stories from them about the stuff that they pick up. And I think $12 is a pretty small fee. And I really would like for them to keep their jobs. I really don't want to move on.
That sounds a selfish reason.
Gee.
All in the family.
We won't tell them, Julie.
No, okay. Yes, sir, back to you.
Is there a way, let's say, I can afford it, I know I can, my in-laws might not be able to afford it, is there any way, if, let's say that these people on welfare, something like that, they can come in or food, say, look, the government's already helping me, because obviously I can't afford this because I'm 7 years old and I'm on a fixed income of $700, $800 a month, that we could, on special occasions, say, look, obviously they can't afford this. Is there a way we can do a means testing?
Where do you draw the line?
$1,000 a month?
And where did you get that number? Just
Figure $250 a week. I know what, I'm just saying, is there a way to do a means testing of somebody that, if you're on welfare or you get SSI or whatever, and you're obviously on a fixed income and you can't make more money, is there a way to do a means testing? Is all I'm asking. Is that a possibility for future consideration?
I would say this, if you get into them, and again, we all sympathize with people who are involved, you know, or have to depend on welfare. But if we start doing a lot of deductions, that $12 would have to go up. Because the fact you're gonna have less people paying the $12, so the $12 would go upward, I would.
People that truthfully can't afford this. I can afford it. I'll eat it. My question is there a way to do means testing?
The way would be that you would have to increase the $12 fee for those who are left to pay it, and that would be something that have to be discussed at a different time, but it would increase it to the rest of the folks that are paying it.
She says she absolutely can't afford it. Is there a way to do a means testing?
I just mentioned it, you'd have to raise the $12.
Is that something we can look at later on?
Anything is an option, but keep in mind, it is gonna have to go up, so, you know, we can't say, well, I thought it was gonna be 12.
Already been told that X amount of dollars will be
Well,
cut.
it will, but it's gonna be shown that it's funded with that. Yeah, we gotta have a budget to show. It'll be shown that it's funded with the user fee. Yeah.
Budgets were flat for next year. Budgets were flat for this year. There's no major increases in any line items. We went through every line item, and there were no major increases at all.
I've been in your shoes.
Yeah,
And
so.
and the thing is that if you're putting a fee in, what are we taking out? Because that way, the fee's assured, whereas other parts not.
Yep.
When they come after my trash, they just tore my rent up. I paid $50 for that rent. And I'll tell you what, it looks like cash right now. And my trash, when they empty my trash, they always turn my bucket upside down.
Okay.
And they always, when Tussy takes the house, that's what he does. He takes the house for me and empties my trash. And I'll tell you what, my trash looks like cash right now. It's almost all torn apart.
The rack, you saying?
Yes.
The rack.
And it just tears me up because I paid for that. And I had somebody bill it, I give them $50 for it. And they, you know.
What's your address, Dorothy?
515 West 2nd.
Could you guys check that and see I don't know anything about it. You guys take a look at that and let me know. Okay, thank you. We'll check on it, Dorothy.
And she said that she's got some boys that'll help me fix it.
Yeah, we'll check into it.
She's got a small football team. Yeah, she can help.
Point of order, I only have a baseball team.
I'm sorry. Excuse. And
That's what tears me up. I paid for that, and it tears me up. I have people mow my yard. I have to pay for that. I can't pay every time that the trash gets empty. I can't, because I'm not working right now. Doctor won't let me go back to work. And I go back to work Bombasca. So that's the way it is.
last time. Come on. Yes. Yes.
Do I have to come up again?
Just if it's short and sweet?
It's
No.
short.
Okay.
I think we all need to recycle, and we recycle aluminum cans and tin cans, we get money for them. So that's a little bit of income. And other things recycle too, everything almost recycled.
Anything else? Going once, going twice. Call for a vote?
Yeah, roll call.
Alley.
Yes.
Goff.
Yes.
Greer.
Yes.
Guston.
Yes.
Crosskopf.
Yes.
Torrance.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you for the discussion this evening.
30% against it.
Okay, next item is ordinance number 12, 2012.
An ordinance to appropriate from the unappropriated fire territory fund in the fire territory budget the sum of $15,000.
I move we adopt ordinance number 12, 2012.
Second.
Has been moved by Councilman Crosskopf, second by Councilman Guston to adopt ordinance. Questions?
this year, and it's been a challenge at times to keep our minimum staffing on the trucks. So we're asking for about half of what's appropriated for our overtime of $36,000. But again, since I've been the chief, we haven't had to do this before, so we have had an influx of injuries, and again, it's been a challenge to keep guys on the truck at our minimum staffing.
And remember, they have federal overtime, so it's federal law. There's no way to not cover, there's no way to not divide the number of men, and they have federal overtime, and that's federal law, so.
Any questions? Questions from the audience? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. The next item is ordinance 14, 2012.
An ordinance to appropriate from the unappropriated CCIF to the CCIF budget the sum of $129,000.
I move we adopt ordinance number 14, 2012.
Second.
That you, Terry?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been moved by Councilman Crosskoff, second by Councilman Alley to adopt ordinance 14, 2012. Questions? Jackie?
Just so that you know, ordinance 14 and 15, the next two, that are in those funds. So, if we have an emergency and we have to spend it, we have to have it appropriated. So if it becomes year end and we have an emergency and we have to spend it, then it needs to be appropriated. And that's by Indiana State Code, the money has to be appropriated. Is it saying we have a project to spend this for? Absolutely not. Is it saying that we're gonna spend this money? Absolutely not. But the money's there, and if there's an emergency and we need to spend it, then it has to be appropriated.
And if we don't spend it, it goes back to unappropriated for next year.
Unappropriated, and the state has even said that one of the things that we need to do is either begin to appropriate these at the beginning of the year or start creating a budget for them at the beginning of the year. We haven't created a budget because then we would just have, that would just be more and more and more budgets to track for money that we're probably not gonna spend. I mean, we probably will not spend this money. If there's an emergency situation, we'll spend it, but that's what the next two are from. The beginning of next year, it's gonna be, a good idea to appropriate those just in case we have an emergency, because these are the emergency funds.
It takes 2 months to get them approved.
And it takes 2 months to get them approved, so if we have an emergency, then, like at the golf course, you know, we have water leaks up there, we're using 1 million gallons of water a day. 1 million gallons.
That's again going back to why you have a little savings. It's a 6-inch water line that needs to be replaced. And the estimates are coming in anywhere 60,000 to the low to almost $250,000 to fix it. And you can go down there, you can see where the ground's wet, and so you're spending money on water, but there's no money to do that unless we have something like this that we can pull from. So, any other questions? Questions from the audience?
Yes.
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 Yeah, motion carries. Next item is ordinance number 15, 2012.
To appropriate from the unappropriated CCD fund to the CCD fund budget the sum of $250,000.
Move we adopt ordinance number 15, 2012.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilman Crosskoff, second by Councilman Greer to adopt ordinance 15, 2012. Questions? This is the same explanation that Jackie gave you before, just a different account. So, any questions on that? Questions from the audience? Yes. Cumulative capital development. If you have a capital projects that, you know, maybe it could be a road project or anything like that, that you can use that out there, or if you got maybe an economic development prospect coming into town and you need to help get something ready for that. To give you an example on something like that, if we get somebody that's interested in a park, like out by the Subaru building, that entryway there is not wide enough to get a lot of trucks in and out of. They cut it pretty close. That entryway needs to be widened out And if that is a sticking point on somebody coming into that park and you have to fix it to meet their trucking needs, that's where you can get some of that money to fix situations like that. Okay? Any other questions?
I got some bushes out there where the road is on Canal Street.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the city come by a couple weeks ago. I was in the hospital this week. I just got out yesterday. And they come, you know, most of them down.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't come all down.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Dorothy, we'll answer your question. Right now, we have a motion on the floor that we have to vote on, and that's unrelated to the motion on the floor, so not disregarding what you're saying, it's just we have a motion on the floor. Anything else on this motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Next item is ordinance number 16.
An amended hazard areas for the city of Prue, Indiana.
Move we adopt ordinance number 16.
Has been moved by Councilman Croscoff, second by Councilman Guston to adopt ordinance 16, 2012. Questions? What this is, ladies, the new flood hazard areas for the city of Peru. This is just an update to our already established flood plain management. You have to update it every so often. If you don't update it, then you're not going to be involved with the National Flood Insurance Program, so meaning people can't buy flood insurance if they live in an area that is considered a flood zone. So we have to do this whenever they want to get an update on these. This has been completed. We have to send them, with your vote tonight, we send it on to the state. It has to be to them by the 28th to make it valid. So we'll get this in the mail first thing so that we, meet the deadline. But that's what it is. We're upgrading how we're going to handle the floodplain management so that we can stay a participating member in the National Flood Insurance Program. Any questions on that? Questions from the audience?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Next item is ordinance number 17, 2012.
An ordinance to appropriate from the unappropriated fire territory to the fire territory fund budget the sum of $36,000.
Move we adopt 2012.
Second.
Has been moved by Councilman Croscoff, second by Councilman Greer to adopt ordinance number 17, 2012. Questions? Jackie?
This really isn't health insurance. I know it said that. It really isn't health insurance. What it is whenever there is a retired police officer or firefighter that's still on the city's pension, when they pass away, they receive a $12,000 benefit. In the fire department, and in the pension budget, there are budgets for two. That's what the state, that's the amount that they tell us to put in there, we budget for two. We've had three that have passed away this year.
We've had four, Jackie.
Oh,
So I'm in arrears $24,000.
yes, okay,
And it's
cool.
come out of our health insurance.
Yeah, so that's where it's come out of. So, we've had four, and just in case,
We've got one, we're gonna carry one extra, with this 36,000, my budget's in arrears 24,000, because we've lost four. The state budgeted for two, and I've taken the other two out of our budget, because
Right.
they've died, we've had four die. So this is gonna give us one to die yet this year.
Terrible
You're not
way to
planning
put it,
on
but
Our retirees.
That didn't sound good.
91, 89. We knew this day would come. I'm sorry, I think we've lost a lot of good men, but let's be practical.
You're not going to tell anybody ahead of time who it is. Okay.
Okay. Any questions on that explanation?
Yeah. Obviously, they don't want to see you come to the door. So.
Okay, any questions from the audience on this? Roll call.
Alley.
Yes.
Goff.
Yes.
Greer.
Yes.
Justin.
Yes.
Croscoff.
Yes.
Torrance.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next item is ordinance number 18.
An ordinance of the City of Prue, Indiana, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds.
Move we adopt in 2012.
Second.
Is that you, Gabe? Or, oh, Steve? Has been Moved by Councilman Crosskoff, second by Councilman Goff to adopt ordinance number 18, 2012. Questions? Ladies and gentlemen, it is remember the bond, those of you who was on the council about 8 years ago, we had a bond that we rolled over, and that was from when the City Hall bond was paid off. That was like a 20-year note, and it was, or expired, we met our obligation on that. So we rolled over this bond at that time, or a bond that we have currently. It goes off at the end of this year, so it'll be, the obligation is gone on that one. So when we're looking at some of the things we have to do, and I mentioned earlier about the $100,000 that we have to fix the radios and some of the other things we're doing. I think you have a list of all the items. Did you receive your list? Just so the audience knows what we're looking at, there are things we'd like to get done that makes improvements to the city. One of the things I've been very concerned about is a lot of our kids walking to school where there are no sidewalks and they have to walk out in the street. Logan Street is one of those, and that's very busy with ambulance and police cars and things of that nature. So we're talking about getting involved with a program called Safe Routes to School. And so we're talking about $60,000 there. That'd be matching funds to get the Safe Routes to School money. Right now, the heating air conditioning system here at City Hall, we've had it tested. We had an energy audit done on this building, and they're saying that the heating air conditioning does need to have, or has to be replaced. That's $400,000 maximum to get the system here with the tower that needs to be replaced on the roof and everything. We're also talking about sidewalks going out North Broadway. As that development occurs out there, and this will be on the west side of North Broadway, there's no way for people to safely walk out to those shopping areas where they're going, out to the dentist office or to eat out there. So we'd like to get sidewalks out there where they can cross over at Roxy Lane so kids can walk out there, cross safely there where there'll be a traffic light. So we want safe passage, especially for our kids there. There's been some money that had been looked to set aside for the Nickel Plate Trail to connect West City Park to the Nickel Plate Trail. There's a trail existing, doesn't go anywhere on either end, behind the Little League Park. And this would be a way for kids to be able to ride their bike and get to West City Park to continue that. We have some restroom improvements in our park system, the concrete floor in a shop area of our Parks Department where it's just gravel at this time. These are small things like $4,000. Then we get into the wireless radio networks that we have to have for police and the street department. We need a new server for the police department, in-car computers for the police department, the radio upgrades. And this, again, these are mandatory for the street department. And then we also put money in there to fix some of our streets, because if you recall, this year in our budget, we had to cut all paving out of the budget. We could not fix any streets this year. So the winter has a real tough toll on these. So we are putting some money in there to also make repairs to some of the streets that we need to make improvements on as well. And so that is what the issuance of this bond will allow to get done. Some of it, I say, is mandated. So we're asking to roll this bond over. It is not a tax increase. What we paid in years past for the bond that is expiring, it will stay the same level. The way we figured the money we can get, we don't want to go any more than 7 or 8 years on these rollovers. This is the amount of money. This is the tax rate we want to stay in. So how much money will that generate for us? So you will not see an increase in your tax rate. It stays the same to get this done. No increase in taxes at all. So questions on that? Ask you guys first, and then you have any question? Wayne? I'm sorry, Wayne. I don't hear very well. What was the interest rate, Jackie?
Well, Nikki's here, what we were looking at was about 3.35%, 3.5%. Yeah, Nikki's here, she can.
Okay. Yeah.
Enlighten us.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Franklin from Consultants. As far as interest rate environment, we've sold 2 bonds in the last month. Park bond. One was 10-year.
We
under.
can't hear you.
Is that microphone turned on?
Microphone's not
Yeah.
Turned off. Pull it off of there.
Yeah, you can pull it.
Not even turned
The
on.
light's not on, Dave.
Here, I'll help you out there.
Battery dead.
Probably.
Got a mic.
The light, it was on earlier. It's
1, 2.
There you go.
Sorry. We've sold 2 bonds this year. One was a 15-year park bond with another client, and one was a 10-year city GO bond. The average interest rate was 1.9%. So interest rate is extremely favorable right now. We're getting flooded with people wanting to take advantage of this interest rate environment. Like the mayor said, you're not raising taxes, you're continuing the debt service to pay for these needs that otherwise you would not be able to provide.
The question was asked, how much will it raise? How much money is we borrowing, or how much are we?
The max is 1.37 million. Is what we're anticipating.
Any other questions? Okay.
Paid for through tax dollars.
Pardon me?
It'll be paid back through tax dollars.
Yeah.
That we're already paying now, but that bond is up.
Up, and we're just rolling this over, John.
There's none of this that you're wanting to do that could have been or should be put in the budget for, that you just done this year?
You couldn't.
Can't get it in there.
This,
No.
Can't get it in.
We have
Floor could have been put in the budget in the Parks Department?
no, I'll tell you where we're at on some of these, and Jackie, you correct me if I'm wrong. Especially in our Parks Department, we've had some maintenance issues up there, and we talked to you about water lines. We fixed 5 lines in 2 days, or 5 holes in one line in 2 days, and you got this other problem that we had, and we've had a lot of water breaks. They're at the point now for the rest of the year, they have enough to pay salaries only, correct?
They've been that way actually since July.
Then-
That park budget, because so few tax dollars go in there, that park budget is at a minimum. They are, it's way down.
How did we pay for the sprinkling system to begin with years ago?
The sprinkling system on the course?
Yeah, that's what's leaking, isn't it?
No.
No.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the feed, the 6-inch feed, and then there's a 2-inch line that comes off German Street, goes down by the softball park and into the lower park to feed the restrooms and the drinking fountains in that area.
Utility issue?
No, it's on our property. It's on our side of the meter.
We get one fixed, and then down the line another one comes up, and then down the line another one comes up, and we have water out there that is just puddled in the.
It's just the same, John. If you had a leak on your property, it's up to you. What's on our property?
Where's the water meter at?
German Street,
And this
German and Park.
For 2 blocks, you're saying?
No, the 6-inch goes for 2,160 feet. Down to the well house. That's what needs to be changed. And it's gonna be installed properly, because part of the problem when they put that pipe in, they laid big stones on top of it for fill. And that vibration and shifting kept rubbing, and now you got all kinds of holes. So it's gonna be embedded in sand and done right. The 2-inch is what feeds the lower park where the kids play. And that needs to be buried in as well.
Do we own our own utilities?
Yes,
Are they gonna help any of this?
they've been helping us on. They bring the Vector truck and we come in and
Are
get
they
them fit.
going to do any of the work, or are we gonna bid it out?
We gotta bid it out.
Are we gonna bid the roof job here out, or are we just gonna say, here, somebody do it locally? Or are you gonna bid it out?
Well, if it's over a certain price, you gotta bid it out, John.
I know that. I'm waiting on the answer, though.
You gotta bid it out.
Thank you. Just making sure we just don't just give this to somebody.
No, we can't. You know that. That's the law.
If we was to move that meter in closer to the well house, would the city have to run that water line?
No.
Get one of them things in the mail to buy insurance on?
Yeah, I get that all the time, don't you?
Yeah, we don't get that. But it's, when you say, can't we do that? No, that's how tight budgets are. A lot of departments are paying wages only right now. So,
Thank
any
you.
other questions?
Savings we could use then.
Well, there's probably some, you could pull it out of there, but there again, John, where do you
You
stop?
got seated, you
No, seated is for economic development. Can you use it for any operating expense? Sure you can by law, but we've made the decision. The seated funds will be there to attract industry and jobs. So we do not use it.
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Well, you got Conforce is firing back up. They got 4 lines going right now. The Roxy came. Yep, they had to retool their machines. Well, you could twist it anyway, I guess. So, any other questions?
I have my idea on that.
Well, we were not going to go in debt. I mean, if we use some of this money we're talking about here can be used for that, so. Yes?
I remember a few years ago when we did this current bond, part of the reason why we did it was because if you didn't do it, you lost a bunch of money.
Yeah, you're going to lose income tax.
So if we don't renew this bond.
If you do that and you lower your levy, then everything, the income tax based on that, you're going to lower all your income tax revenue as well. So it'll hurt you on your income side too. Yeah. Yep, it will do that.
Okay.
Nothing else? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Second. Okay, motion carries. Next item, ordinance number 19, 2012.
I move we adopt ordinance number 19, 2012.
Second.
Has been moved by Councilman Crosskoff, second by Councilman Guston to adopt ordinance 19, 2012. Questions? Greg? You back here, buddy? Yep. You want to come on up? This is our animal control officer, for those of you who don't know, so.
This money that I'm asking for is just money that I earned during a fundraiser. It's, all the proceeds were just fundraiser money that had turned into, our general fund, and now I'm just asking for improvements to the building we have up there to use it.
Is this from that Barkapalooza?
Yes, it is.
Okay, if you remember, they had a Barkapalooza, they raised some money. This money that all the departments, we've asked them to do this, try to raise money on their own that's outside of property taxes. So he's asked for $5,000 back out of the money he raised, so it's not an additional tax appropriate, so that he can use it to make improvements to the animal care and control building. So, any questions? Hang on a minute, Gray. Any questions from the audience? Yeah, you might as well stay there because you got one more after this. So, okay, roll call.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. The last ordinance, well, that's under old business. This is new business we're going into now. We have one ordinance, ordinance number 20, 2012.
An ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Indiana for animal control.
Move we consider ordinance number 20, 2012.
Second.
Has been moved by Councilman Goff to consider ordinance 20, 2012. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Okay.
I move we adopt ordinance number 20, 2012.
Second. Has been moved by Councilman Crosskoff, second by Councilman Goff to adopt ordinance number 20, 2012. Questions? This is
What are we
the
doing?
ordinance adjustments. No.
Just changing wording?
It is, there are a couple of things. It used to say dog catcher. We're changing everything to animal control. It also talks about the dog tags, you know, where we do our own tagging here at the city. And then on the vaccination, the anti-rabies vaccinations that is included in there to be added. It says it shall be unlawful to keep a dog over 3 months in the city unless the dog is immunized against rabies by a vaccination performed by a veterinarian. The period of immunization specified by the veterinarian performing the vaccination has not expired. So basically they're trying to say all the dogs need to be vaccinated so that we don't have, you know, rabies incidents.
And that rabies vaccination is actually an Indiana state law. It's not just something we're trying to do. It's actually a state law.
And then I think the pet registration to get animals, so if he picks up a dog, he'll know who the owner is, and he can get the dog back so they're not kept up in the pound for 2 or 3 days, or the animal control center.
That question.
And then if it's if you have the dog altered, spayed, neutered, then it's cheaper, so that we can make sure that, we can have a good spay neuter, don't have additional unwanted pets running around. So some of those things have been added to it, so. And it also, the livestock prohibited.
Yeah.
Is that something new? The
Yeah,
livestock?
we've had a lot of people asking this question. You're going to say, this is kind of crazy, what livestock in the city? You'd be surprised what we have found in the city. So it wasn't really spelled out, but this is what it says. It shall be unlawful for a person to own, keep, or breed a horse, pig, pony, mule, donkey, jackass, goat, chicken, peacock, turkey, duck, cow, llama, or other livestock in the city. However, the provision of this section shall not apply to zoological parks or circuses and carnivals. We laugh about that, but we have found each one of those in our city. And
Don't go there. Don't go there. No, don't go there, Steve.
So if our police officers go out there, or Greg goes out there, wait a minute, there's nothing on the book, so there's been a lot of things that have been found, so we figured we ought to bring this for a vote to you guys to see if you agree with this, that we need regulation to, keep, because people usually move into cities so that they don't hear those sounds, and sometimes they do, so.
I thought the greatest line in the world was what you said when the guy had the big snake, don't get bit.
But it doesn't say anything about snakes in there.
Yeah.
Chickens?
Chickens, get in here, chickens. are
Yep,
in here.
it's, you got goats, chicken, peacocks, turkeys, ducks, cows, llamas, and other livestock. And when I say pig, that means pot-bellied pigs as well.
There goes the neighborhood.
If somebody's already got some of these animals,
Mm-hmm.
now what are you gonna do?
Well, right now.
Supper.
Yeah, right now, this isn't in effect, so.
They're grandfathered in.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think from the legal
We
stand-
wouldn't be able to enforce this ordinance, but if there was some other ordinance we could enforce, we could look at that. But I don't know of any situation right now we're looking at.
So anyway, questions? Questions? Yes?
We were talking about dog tags. Does that mean that the county's gonna sell their own and the city's gonna sell their own tags?
Well, the county would still sell them for the county, for the animals in the city. Okay, that way he could tag them, he can do what he needs to do if he picks up animals, on a weekend or something. He could tell by that tag.
I just wondered because I do take a copy of the dog tags that are sold all in the county to 911. I update it every Friday and turn it in.
Yeah. I've got a copy of that too. Just right, you have the city dog, then we get the city money to go back into the budget to use it that way, as opposed to going over to the county and we don't get any of that. So will we still have to pay the county on it?
No, this.
Stay the city, you don't have to pay the county also. Like the building fees.
Has the commissioners been told about this?
What's that?
Has the commissioners been told?
No, this is a city ordinance.
Okay, I just wondered if they were aware of it, if they've been made aware of it.
Oh, if it's passage, I mean, we can notify him, let him know, but I mean, in all honesty, it's a city ordinance. It doesn't have any impact, because all we're saying is any animal in here, we'll control that population, we'll, get them registered, and we'll get them back to the owner as quickly as possible. So, as a courtesy, we can certainly notify them, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, when I got neighbors that let their dogs out, one day they come in my yard, sitting all over my yard, and they just let them loose. I called the police department, I called the dog pond, I call everybody, and they won't come out and do it.
Well, if you give us a call and there's an animal problem, Greg will go on it. He
Okay,
gets quite
I
a few
got-
calls, so.
I ain't got his number or nothing, The cops say, well, I'll be bound, and they never show up.
You just call Central Dispatch and tell them do you want to talk to the city dog,
That's
animal
what
control?
I do, and they still don't help.
Yeah.
They dispatch me out just like they do the police officers.
They do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call.
They supposed to be on leashes?
Yes.
They don't.
Yes.
They don't do it.
Yes.
Greer,
Yes.
Yes.
Crosskopf,
Yes.
Forrest.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Do we have anything else to come before the council? Dorothy, did you say you had a question you wanted answered?
Yes, I did.
About some bushes or something?
Yeah, on my bushes on the back where Canal Street is. City has been cutting them, but they come this time, but they told me they wasn't gonna come no more. That's a city's lot.
Okay. Tell you what, I'll check on that, see what your question. I don't know enough about it tonight, but I'll check on it for you.
Okay,
All right?
you can come by there and
Okay.
look at 'em.
Okay.
They have cut some of it, but they didn't cut. Last year,
Go, buddy.
they come on down. You can see the street and everything.
Okay.
Doris, I'll give you my card, and you can give me a call for any of these questions you've had tonight. So you can give me a call anytime. I'll make sure to get you my card.
Okay.
Thank you, Gabe.
Bye, guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, Mary Jo.
I just would like to admonish, the mayor and our city administration, and I'm thankful that we don't have to go file under bankruptcy. Because a lot of cities I see on TV, on the internet, they are bankrupt.
Mhm.
I just thank all.
Thank you. Anything else?
Go there.
Motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Has been moved and second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're opposed.